Welcome back to a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Terran versus Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on El Dorado. That seemed a little early to me. Really? We're back to doing this? Okay. Spawning right here in the bottom left-hand corner. Playing with the Red Terran SCVs. You know him, you love him. We have none other than ByuN. Now, I have not really seen a proxy barracks in a while. Looks like we're going back to the good old standard. His opponent, though, down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, representing himself on the main hatchery. We're looking at Dark's main base. Yep, it's a proxy Rex. This is one of those builds that sometimes falls out of favor, but it never truly leaves. Yeah, it's a nasty strategy. It looks like we're gonna go for a triple Rex. It's a nasty strategy that doesn't work every time, but when it works, you feel like a king. So the build order is pretty straightforward. Build a depot at home. Make sure you have 12 SCVs right over here on minerals. And just go ahead and build a whole bunch of barracks on the other side of the map. And then cross your fingers. This is an important part. Cross your fingers and hope that the Zerg does not see it in time. Well, Dark is going to see. But is it in time? Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, now he notices it, but he's gonna have to react. Preferably you react right here by sending a bunch of drones before the barracks finishes so you can harass the workers and buy time until Zerglings come out. Dark with the little crying face. ByuN with the ha! SCVs repairing each other over here too. A triple Rex, by the way, is incredibly committed. You do need to deal a significant amount of damage with this. Dark's gonna pull more of the boys. He does have the high ground advantage. Yeah, Spine Crawler is not a bad idea. Starts up 1 queen. Just the 1. He wants to prevent any bunkers from coming up over here. Okay, nice little bit of micro here on the drones, but good stutter stepping as well by ByuN. Zerglings are just about to pop. Keep in mind that, well, ByuN can always go ahead and drop mules as well, so even though his worker count is not that high, it's pretty good actually compared to the Zerg right now, especially considering a lot of those bad boys aren't mining. Ugh. His economy is really solid. Now, a Spine Crawler is finishing. My concern is mostly with these drones. Like, yeah, the Terran has been successfully pushed away from the Zerg's natural, but so have the workers, which is not good for Dark. I think because of it, ByuN is thinking, yo, if you're not mining, I guess I'll just keep pumping more of those Marines. Because, yeah, we're only 3 minutes into the game and he already has 600 more resources a minute coming in. Now he kind of wishes he built more barracks. He could build more. I'm assuming he'll start up a command center instead. Yeah, eventually, once he has the money for it. But he doesn't really need to. I've got a feeling if he just keeps pumping Marines, he can just overwhelm the Zerg. There's only 10 workers mining right now. That's less workers than the game started with. SCVs go in the front to soak up a few of those Spine Crawler pokes. And even though there is a group of workers over here, they're trying to make the long way back home. That is the saddest group of drones I've seen in a while. In a very quick game, it's ByuN who obtains the victory. Now, even though I don't really like that strategy that much, I kind of want to see it again. Can we do it again? Come on, ByuN, send the SCVs. Maybe not. Maybe not. I love that group of drones though, trying to make their way all the way back home. It's so sad. No, I don't think we're doing it this time around. Fair enough. This is a massive map though. Neon Violet Square really does have a lot of expansions. Plus, you have that pocket expansion over here in the bottom right. Oh no. Is he saying something about 3 racks? Well, Dark's once again laughing. I have no idea. If there is somebody that knows Korean, please let me know. Sometimes ByuN does this, man. It's always ByuN that starts it, which is curious to me. There's a lot of players that just want to play the video game and they don't really chat. But ByuN is always trying to start up these full conversations. Especially after a win like that, though. It does feel almost a little mean, but obviously keep in mind that these guys... Oh, he's already GGing. Oh, ByuN is also GGing. Fair enough. Keep in mind that a lot of these guys are very good friends. Obviously, they have quite a unique job, and they have been competing against one another for, like, more than a decade. So, yeah, it makes sense to make sure that your closest competitors are also your friends, because ultimately, you do need a little bit of practice against them. Command center on the low ground. Marine opener here for now. ByuN actually playing a little bit greedy. Absolutely no scouting. No Reaper, no SCV, no nothing. This is straight Marine production instead. It's something that can be, yeah, quite painful because there's a lot of builds that counter this. The nice advantage of this, of course, though, is that you do just end up with a lot more powerful timing attacks. Any sort of follow-up that you go for right now here as ByuN is going to hit a little bit harder. So he's taking a risk early on. Considering he's 1-0 up in the series, he has a little bit of wiggle room. And to be fair, what are the odds that Dark is going to go for something super, super aggressive? Dark's been favoring this build in this matchup instead. So this is a triple hatch, completely gasless. So it's hatchery into pool into another hatchery. Making use of the slightly cheaper hatchery right now. And then also, obviously, getting the advantage in that department. And he can start pumping out the queens a little bit later. And it allows him, considering they're 25 minerals more expensive, a relatively similar output. The main problem here, of course, for Dark is that he does not have any sort of Zergling speed on the horizon. So most of the time what happens off of this is a Roach follow-up, where he goes for a Roach Warren and he pumps out a bunch of those. It seems to be mostly map dependent, so on Neon Violet Square, as long as you control this ramp and you control this choke point over here, yeah, you should be fine against basically any Hellion aggression. It's a long road for those Hellions to go back and forth, right? So you can't really roam this map very easily as Terran. So we'll have to keep an eye out on exactly what the follow-up is going to be, but for now, I don't mind this here for Dark. Even though ByuN is playing pretty greedy, so is Dark, so not too deterred after game number 1. This is a bit of a strange follow-up, though. We didn't do the big switcheroo. Instead, we're gonna, I guess, go for a Marine Hellion-based push. Yeah, this map is curious. I still find it interesting, right? So I really don't mind the fact that they have brought back some of the older StarCraft 2 maps. Like, for example, Neon Violet Square, but also King's Cove, and then obviously Abyssal Reef. I just don't know if I would have picked those 3. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice to have a blast from the past and see how they work in the modern meta. But especially Neon Violet. Like, all 3 of them are really big macro maps. And I don't mind it, but I also don't love them. At least they're visually very distinct. So he's hoping he can catch the Zerg player off guard. Looks like Dark, though, has already moved on units here. And he doesn't have Zerglings to really defend. At least not links with speed. But against this type of attack, you don't really need speed. Does he have a Roach Warren yet? No. He's got nothing. Dark is just making drones. Look at him right now as well. To defend this, he's saying, yo, I'm going to lose drones. Perfect. I'll make drones. The best counter to losing drones is making more drones. Transfusing drones, attacking Hellions with slow Zerglings. The best counter to losing drones is more drones. So even though he did lose quite a few of those worker units, it's 7 in total, but he's still powering out more. There is still no Roach Warren. There is finally the start of Zergling speed, but this is 5 minutes in. Straight bailingness too. Now, this is one of those situations, though, where as a Terran player, you're like, ha! Got him good, baby! I killed so many of those workers. Fantastic situation. Because the gut instinct here, for most players at least, when they're under pressure, is to make defensive units. Dark did not. Like, he made a round of Zerglings, but that was it. So in a very weird sequence of events, despite killing a whole bunch of drones, Dark's actually quite far ahead economically. We do have to go orbital. Can we go orbital, please? Yep. Very important. The Banshee, in the meantime, being annoying. Lair at this point is done, though, so a mobile detector is coming up. Apparently, what they were talking about in the early game chat was that ByuN did not believe Dark would go no-gas triple hatchery. I see. I see. Yeah, keep in mind that these guys do play a lot of games against one another too. So, it's not just the series as it is. Like, these guys have a very good chance to play against each other, well, in some circumstances, multiple times a day. Like, if you participate in some of the online cups, right? There's a good chance you can play in at least one of them every day. Like, there's a lot of open signups available across the globe, and you can, well, accidentally, like, if you're good at the game, you will obviously face a lot of the similar players. And ByuN and Dark play in tons of events. They play in a lot of events, so they're very familiar with one another's playstyle. Apparently, ByuN trying to punish his opponent a little bit for the triple hatch opener. These days, there's not quite as many events available as there once were, but still, quite a few. Transfusing drones, man. It's the second time we've seen him do it now. It works. It is an acquired taste, but it does work. Marine drop pushing through the center of the map. Nice splitties right here by ByuN. Trying to mitigate as much of that splash damage as possible. Zergling run by in the meantime on the other side of the map, trying to get some damage done, but it looks like ByuN has avoided most of it. Only losing a single SCV so far and getting away with a nice and greedy 4th command center. This particular series, by the way, is from a Wardy Monday tournament. I believe it was Monday 9, I want to say? What is it, 9 or 19? I'm not exactly sure. Whichever one the most... No, actually, I'm thinking it's 16 right now. How did I get to 9? Anyways, it is, I believe, the last one played in 2024. So I think this particular cup took place right around New Year's. Dark is playing a very funky strategy, though. So as late as his Zergling speed was, as quickly as his Hive... These build orders are all a little bit strange. So, we have Overlord speed coming up. We have +2 melee, but no armor. Do we go +2 armor? Yes, we do. He doesn't have a Lurker Den, so I'm guessing this is for Ultras. But Ultras are also kind of garbage. Why did we go Hive? I know Dark is a fan of the Lunch upgrade, but he doesn't even have those two, like the Groove Spines and the Muscular Augments yet, so he's gonna prioritize those. I guess this may just be a Hive, just for Adrenal Glands. As a fan of the Zerg late game units, this almost makes me a bit sad, man. The reason to go Hive is just for the Zergling upgrade. No more Ultras, no more Brute Lords, and apparently not even Lurkers. No Vipers, no Infestors, it is just Adrenal Glands. Maybe we'll see some of those a little bit later on. For now, though, it's gonna be Widow memes. And Hydraling Bane it is. That'll be the weapon of choice. Dark did go for the gold base over here, but that one's, of course, pretty far away. And as long as you can micro over here in this little area, yeah, that's where Widow Mines are really nice. Terran can get an easy split. A little bit of aggression as well coming in from the high ground. It is curious how for like both Zerg and Terran, quite literally the first unit they make is also like their best unit from the early game all the way until the late game, right? Like the Marine is pretty much the best weapon of choice for Terran, and then the Zergling is pretty much the best weapon of choice for the Zerg. Maybe it's kind of beautiful in a way. They are very iconic, to say the least. Now, we do have a Lurker Den eventually. We are gonna go into that nanomuscular swell research. It's the lunge ability for the for the Hydralisk rather. Okay. Push over here. Oh, killing a bunch of Marines as well. Good control here by ByuN though across the board. You don't have that much control over exactly where those Widow Mines are going to go. I wonder if we should knock down these rocks over here, Dark, because they're all a little bit funky. I guess he doesn't really have that much time. So far, though, ByuN is just hammering his opponent home. He made a planetary fortress over here. And I love this style, by the way, here from ByuN. I've criticized ByuN a little bit over the last couple of months about being a bit too passive for my liking. in this particular game here, he's being, well, in this entire series, he's being very aggressive. We have more starports coming up right now together with a fusion core. So a full transition towards Liberators is underway. Apparently we're going to skip Ghosts. Is this maybe the fight that Dark's looking for, though? Because the Widow Mines, oh, they're going to do a lot of friendly fire, and suddenly the Lings are everywhere. Lunch is going to allow those Hydras to close the distance. Okay, that was about as good a fight as Dark was ever going to get. He now catches a bunch of those Terran units as well on the retreat. That was a good engagement. Yep, that is the first time in a little while that Dark actually took a very successful fight. Gonna follow this up with Banelings, but most importantly, look at the little Hydra ritualistic dancing. I don't know what these guys have been doing, man, but they're definitely on... Okay, I don't know what they're doing. Anyways, doesn't matter. We have the Lurkers coming up. And this is a really nice line of attack. Similarly to those Marines on the high ground on the other side of the map previously, Lurkers and Hydras on this high ground also very dangerous. Keep in mind, though, that there's no Ghosts. ByuN decided to skip the Ghost. He wanted to go straight towards ranged Liberators, but he doesn't have those yet out either. That means that those Lurkers are gonna hit extra hard. There is a counterattack in the meantime. It's just Marine Marauder Medevac. I think ByuN may have gotten a little carried away. He was cruising along and he was happy with how the game was going. And it was going great until it didn't. GG. Alrighty, and that means that this series comes down to Abyssal Reef. Final game in this best of 3 series. Did Dark just think he spawned on the other side of the map? Hold up. What just happened with that drone? That drone was... That was... Where are we going? I think he just sent it a bit early. He already made the hatchery, so I'm not exactly sure what we were... I feel like this drone is doing that awkward thing right now. No, he was just trying to scout. I think that's the purpose. He just had it misrelayed there for a second. I think he probably assumed he was one drone later. Anyways, he's just trying to be sure here that he is not getting proxy rexed again. Yeah. So I kind of like this here by Dark. Dark is once more going triple hatch. Gasless. It's a little risky. It's a little dangerous. But again, you know, we go from Neon Violet Square into Abyssal Reef. Those are big maps. Yeah, ByuN could go for a proxy Rex, but he could also just not. You don't really need to. It's funny though, it's like a circle of Zerg strategies, right? Or Zerg versus Terran strategies, where Terrans don't proxy Rex for a long time, so Zerg players stop scouting. And then when Zerg players once more face proxy Rex, they're starting to scout again. And when they're scouting too much, Terrans will stop doing the proxy Rex. And this is the circle of life in StarCraft 2. Everybody's trying to be as greedy as possible, especially in the first few minutes of a game. So, yeah, the more you can get away with, the better it's going to be. And it's all about, yeah, who can cut more early game options than the other, right? Who can get away with more greed. Right now, for example, we rarely see SCV scouts. At least we don't see them much, especially not from the Koreans. I've noticed I've noticed Clem still does go for SCV scouts from time to time, but it's not really something most of the Koreans mix in. Maybe that's an opportunity. Maybe that is something you can play with here as a Zerg player, but yeah, it's a little risky. And ultimately, it's almost like a rock, paper, scissors, right? You have to be, in order to really get value out of those corner cuts in the earlier stages of the game that you might expect from your opponent, you really have to commit really hard. And you could just accidentally lose the game because you misread it, so. Maybe better to just mix them in from time to time. But not be too greedy. Now, ByuN has decided to do the thing that I don't really love that much, and that is to build the third command center on location. He's gonna get away with it, but it always seems unnecessarily greedy to me. Normal timing for Zergling speed, by the way, back in the day, the normal time, right? Like the very first timing for Link speed was to make sure that it finished by the time that 2 Hellions could get across the map. And then Zerg players got a little greedier over time. And they started lining up their Zergling speed with the arrival of the 3rd and the 4th Hellion. So you're delaying the link speed for about 1 production cycle of Hellions. Apparently these days, we are not even respecting the Hellions anymore at all. Just nothing whatsoever. No link speed until like minute 5. There goes Jimmy. Whee! Superhero Jimmy death. So he's made 4 Zerglings in total. And that's it. Like, no link speed. No lair, no tech, no spore crawlers, no nothing. It is just 4 Zerglings and drones. I feel like this can get, this can get countered pretty hard. Terrans haven't really started countering it that much yet. I mean, I guess the proxy Reaper stuff and the proxy Marine stuff can technically counter it too, but what about like a Hellbat push? Like any sort of aggression at all. Dark has literally made as many hatcheries as he's made Zerglings. I feel like this is one of those strategies that works better at the pro level than it does in Diamond League, you know? Because the odds of the opponent in Diamond League playing more aggressive Terran is... yeah, it's pretty big. He still has not made any more than 4 Zerglings. There are still no Zerglings. We are 5.5 minutes in. Dark's just making drones. He can't keep getting away with this. He's just making drones. He's lost 4 of them, I guess, but... double Evo Chamber, Macro Hatchery coming up. He has now made more hatcheries than Zerglings. Now we finally start up some additional ones. This is so greedy. So incredibly greedy from Dark. I have not seen a build this greedy in a while. Yeah, and now that we have full 3-base saturation, including the gases... that's when he starts up unit production. So he made 4 Zerglings until full 3-base saturation and then finally made some more stuff. It couldn't be much more greedy than this. Now, in the meantime, ByuN has, of course, also been powering out the economy. He believes he's getting away with greed. Yeah, and honestly, I don't even mind this here for Dark. I think he does this specifically on Abyssal Reef, though, and just on maps like Neon Violet Square, maybe King's Cove too. Just the super large maps. Now that the 4th hatchery is done, guess what we can do? More droning, baby! Straight up to basically 80 workers. Bailing speed, +1. He really needs to fire up the +1 carapace too. Infestation pit. This is a crazy Zerg build. I think he actually did basically a carbon copy of this in the second game of the series. I didn't quite realize, though, how greedy it really was. He's effectively going straight to, like, 80 workers if he could. He just needed to make some stuff as well in the meantime. Terran's going for a big push. It's taking a while, though, and those rocks do have a lot of HP, so Dark is using this as an opportunity to go across. And that's a lot of links. He did pick up, by the way, on the fact that he did not yet power up the +1 armor. ByuN already finished his 1-1 research. Okay, those Widow Mines got deflected. Reinforcing Marines are going to be able to stop this with relative ease. He did not quite catch that there was a command center building over there. Oh, he did. He just decided to ignore it. Marine drop in the top left-hand corner, the far top left. How did these guys even get over here? Nobody knows. They're going to be able to kill the Hydralisk then. Fair enough. Lings and Banes are going to be a necessity, though. Queens are dropping as well. Good targeting. In the meantime, the fight over here, not going as well for ByuN. Dark catching that off guard. Yeah, this is a little derpy. This is very, very derpy. Hydra then 2.0 comes up. Hive begins. +1 for the missile upgrade, also coming up. Let's see. +2/+2 is already, well, over halfway done right here for ByuN. And that's the real pushing opportunity, right? So maybe his barracks got delayed a little bit. That is the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th one. But I think if he can line up an attack with both of those upgrades finishing up, he's going to hit a very nice timing. I really do hope, though, for his sake, that he does not skip the Ghost Academy this time around. Like, if you've only seen Hide Rolling Bane, you don't really need Ghosts. But obviously, Zerg can tech switch very quickly. Furthermore, you can even... Ooh, we had a little bit of a Baneling roll by, apparently, that I missed. Let me back off a little bit. Obviously, Zerg can literally morph their Hydras into Lurkers. And while you can fight Hydras with just Marines against Lurkers, you don't really... Yeah, have that as a great weapon of choice. So, these Banelings came in from about 3.5 screens away. ByuN does see it in time, but loses 7 SCVs. Not the end of the world, but maybe these Zerglings can put in a bit of work. Yeah. Gonna add on some more. Hydra upgrades are late, though. Hive also feels very late to me. There is a 3rd evolution chamber, which I do kind of like. But he hasn't powered up the +2 armor. He doesn't have that much gas for it. Banelings once more, rolling towards the 3rd. This time around, they're gonna go through the supply depot. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's nice, but it doesn't actually do anything. Here's the Zerglings trying to see if they can finish the job. ByuN very quick on rebuilding the wall. Good defense here. Lovely defense here by ByuN. So look at this, by the way. The norm for barracks 6, 7, and 8 is to get little tech labs on them. Normally, what you do as Terran is you end up with 4 barracks that have tech labs on them and 4 barracks that have reactors. ByuN has 1 with a tech lab and 7 with reactors, meaning that the man can make Marines. And that's basically the only thing he can make. But he can make Marines, and it's a lot of them. Lurkers would be absolutely monstrous. Ultras would be phenomenal. There's a lot of things that Zerg could do against this, but so far, Dark does not have either of them. Men with gun coming in clutch again. He does have a couple Banelings coming in, but not enough yet. Oh my god, Marines, man. The Marines are just going to town here. Brrt, brrt, brrt. Oh my god, he's losing so much at home. Yeah, he can pump out a lot of those Marines too, I guess. But he's lost 20 SCVs. It looks like ByuN has decided to just stim by everything. Are we just gonna pop the structures? Is that the plan? He wants to jump all of those Banelings before they finish morphing in. Drones are pulled away too, just to soak up a little bit of damage. Hot pickup in the last couple seconds. 28 drones, 28 SCVs. Those Marines from earlier, or those SCVs rather from earlier, were never repaired up. So Zerglings can make very quick work of them. Most of them just like 1 hit away from dying. What is going on right now, man? This is Korean StarCraft 2 in a nutshell. Dark always matching the StarCraft energy of the other people in the game. He can play phenomenal macro. But sometimes he just does not do it. Oh. Remember that series I casted, that best of 7 between Clem and Dark? Dark actually could go toe-to-toe, macro-wise. Oh, with Clem. But... yeah, it's a little bit funky. I don't know why we... why... His early game was phenomenal. I really did like that, but I'm not so sure about the follow-up here. Then again, though, ByuN only has 45 SCVs. And he's not remaking any. So ByuN is basically saying, yo, we are done making Marines here. Or we're done making SCVs, rather. We are just making Marines now. I'm only making a unit that starts with the letter M and ends with the name Arene. That's all we're doing. And I don't know if I like it. Because, in theory, it's absolute garbage. ByuN's thinking, but if I was an artificial intelligence, and my APM was technically infinite, I could split every single one of the Marines perfectly, and then I would never lose a game. I mean, he does have a lot of APM. But I don't believe it's infinite. So Dark should be fine, as long as he doesn't drone. That's a lot of Marines, though. Oh my god. Dude, if he made like 2 Lurkers, life would be amazing. I actually don't know if he's good enough. Nope. It's one of those weird moments where Terrans make Marines and nothing but Marines. And if you make more Marines, they're a lot better than when you make fewer Marines, right? Although in the second game, or sorry, in the first game of the series, he made Marines and he only made like 15 of them, and that was enough to win the game, I guess. Although that was a lot earlier. In this particular game, we made like 16 Marines at a time. This is one of those builds, one of those strategies where you sometimes ask yourself, how did that... What? That doesn't even make any sense.